There are two problems. One is we, Africa itself, we need to organize, to be together, to have a voice, a strong voice, because there are many resources on our continent. Why don't we leverage that so that the rest of the world also is interested in working with us in a cooperative way, rather than just telling people to follow what they have decided. So that is one part. The other part is the power that is wielded by a number of countries in this world should also be used rationally and reasonably, and get to understand that Africa is as important as they are. And Africa is not there to be influenced, or to take sides according to the lines they have decided or determined. So those two things must be addressed. How rational the powerful parts of the world are and how they use their power. The second is for Africa to understand and to know that it's actually powerful in many ways, human and other resources. People in those countries or places where coup d'etats are taking place, we have also to look at the root cause of that. It is easy to condemn coups and say it shouldn't happen. It is right. But at the same time, we need to ask ourselves the question. We understand it that way, yet the coups actually keep taking place. So that means there's something lacking. And therefore, that's what takes us to the root causes. In most cases, it comes down to two things. One, people talk about leadership and so on and so forth. Leadership needs to be looked at in a sense of the weight carried by those in leadership to make sure that they serve the interests of their own people and for their prosperity. In most cases, that doesn't happen in some places. The other is about governance. You have leaders, you have how they use that responsibility to govern the entities that they are leaders for. When you see coups happening, you quickly go to that place. Why does it happen? Yeah. Two things: leadership lacks, governance is lacking, and there is an implosion, whichever country that happens. The quest of Africa to industrialize should not depend on anybody's decision, but Africa's decision. It is long overdue, and we must industrialize because, again, what sense does it make that we produce? We have a lot in terms of raw materials, all the wealth, and in fact there is a contradiction. Africa has everything, it's very wealthy. On the other hand, it is also very poor. So what is the explanation? It is not justified. So Africa must come together, must invest in their resources, must invest in value addition, must get involved with manufacturing, and understand there is a sense of urgency as well for this to happen. That is another responsibility of the Africans, to make sure that Africa is not there for anybody's taking. It's as if we are there just for anyone to come and pick and do whatever they want with us. So this is the responsibility we carry. This is something that is urgent, to make sure that we are not there to be influenced to take a certain line or the other line because somebody has decided so and because somebody is powerful. So Africa must be that powerful to make sure that we do what has been determined by ourselves to be important to us and our people. What doesn't Africa have? We should be learning from history, from many things that have happened, from a lot of events. In the case of Rwanda, we had the tragedy of the century, more or less. There wasn't much in terms of mobilization for what was happening to be stopped. It had not been prevented. But at least we were left with an opportunity to learn from it. We have learned ourselves. The world needed to learn. But when you see so many things happening in the world, you question whether lessons were learned. There are so many conflicts, there are things happening that with the resources in the world and with the power in hands of some people, the influence, the kinds of things some big countries have in their hands are not being put to good use, and that's why we see conflicts, instability, and loss of life to this extent that we see every day. Countries, nations, regions, international institutions should be there, in fact should have been there to ensure that there is a capacity to actually prevent these things that consume people's lives and like lives are worthless, to prevent that or to quickly stop that wherever it is taking place. But we don't see that happening. So we need to go back to the basics. There must be things that people know, whether it is equality, whether it is a fight against division, and preventing people using divisive politics, which underlies in most cases these tragic happenings across the world. Well, I don't know what is new that I would call the world to do that we didn't call the world to do in the past or at that time it was happening. But that is a very significant signal that the world is not learning much from what is happening or what has happened in the past to be able to prevent such a situation from occurring. So what is it there that I can tell the world that has, that can influence the world to operate differently? I don't know. But for those of us who have experienced these situations and circumstances, we've learned our lessons. In fact, one lesson learned is that for countries, there are also going to be times when you are on your own. And even for things that should attract support or synergies across, because there is no one country that has everything, when you need such, it will not happen. It won't be coming. You will be on your own.
I'm a king, yes, I'm a king, I think I'm a king,